Hi, welcome to another video of Practical Mental Health. I'm Eric Mansfield, licensed clinical social worker. So today I want to introduce the concept of mindfulness. So this is something that I start with every client. I mean, most of them have, they come in with their own issues, but I would say probably 99.99% I work with clients on developing mindfulness, whether they know it or not. So basically, mindfulness is basically a buzzword for self-awareness. And there's two routes to think about this. So there's external mindfulness. So I think about external mindfulness, basically situational awareness. So we all experience the world through our senses, whatever senses we might have. And I also understand that there are some people that struggle with certain types of senses, sight, touch, hearing, smell, taste. So basically, we experience the world through our senses for the most part. Not all senses function the same, so that's where you have to be mindful of that as well. There are some people that don't have a sense of smell or a sense of taste, and here lately I've heard, one of the symptoms of COVID is a loss of smell and taste. Hopefully temporarily, not permanent, but you have to be mindful of that. So basically the idea is external mindfulness being that sensory input. When we scan our surroundings, we identify objects you can touch and feel, or, we understand the world as we experience it. We see it, we hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. That's the idea, but also being mindful of not just the objects, but also, what is in the immediate vicinity, even looking outside. If it's going to rain, do you carry an umbrella with you? Is it cold? Is it hot? Any number of things with regards to that. Let's see. So that's kind of the gist of it with regards to external mindfulness. I'm not going to get into practicing anything just yet. I'm going to do a separate video on practicing mindfulness skills. The next one is internal mindfulness. So basically that's your awareness of your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors internally. This to me is more important, especially as a therapist. External mindfulness is important, but when you come to therapy, that's pretty much what I think most therapists hopefully are focused on, is what's going on internally within yourself, and are you aware of what's going on internally? So the idea is being aware of when your feelings shift for better or for worse, one way or the other. Do you even know when that happens? And that's where, it's kind of a struggle sometimes for some people, because there are a lot of people that experience shifts, don't even realize that it's happening, and then their behaviors pretty much show what they're feeling. They don't even realize it. But that's where I want you to start being aware. Be aware of what you're thinking, how you're thinking. Is that affecting how you're feeling? It very well could be. Your feelings, what are you feeling? What are you feeling right now? What are you thinking right now? Try to assess these things. Take into consideration, the idea, and this is from cognitive behavioral theory, that your thoughts are going to affect your feelings and behaviors. Your feelings are going to affect your thoughts and behaviors, and your behaviors are going to affect your thoughts and feelings. They're all interconnected. If you can be aware of that, you can shift it on your own. You can figure out what to do. You can practice coping skills. You can change well, basically, or you can change things in some ways, and you can choose your behaviors. So, not getting into specific practices just yet, but like the idea of, and when we do, I'm going to kind of take you through some exercises in a different video to be able to practice mindfulness, external and internal. But some of the things that I want you to be aware of is mindfulness of your emotions. How are you feeling from moment to moment? And it doesn't have to be mindfulness, being self-aware 24/7. It definitely helps. That way you know when you might be suddenly feeling sad, when you might be suddenly feeling angry or irritated. Even when you're suddenly feeling excited or happy. It's a matter of not just going with the flow. And the idea of going with the flow, kind of like if you were kayaking or, boating or something with, oars, like a rowboat or something. The oars, the paddles, that's what actually helps you direct the direction of the flow. You can go to shore, you can keep going downriver, or you can travel across the lake, or whatever it might be. That concept, that metaphor. If you're just going with the flow, on a still lake, you're just going to be sitting there. If you don't use the paddles and the oars to propel yourself and direct which direction you want to go in, going with the flow just means you stay stagnant. Nothing happens. If you are kayaking down a river, what happens if you get caught up in an eddy, one of those little pockets of water that just swirls round and round and round? What do? You just end up spinning round and round and round and round, and you don't go anywhere. So this idea of, if you are mindful of where you are and what you're doing, you can choose to paddle your way to any direction. You can paddle yourself to the other side of the lake, or you can just paddle around and explore the shore. Going down a river, you can stop wherever you want. You can pick and choose the direction that you want. That's kind of the idea with regards to being aware of your thoughts and feelings. Don't just go with the flow. Direct it. Take yourself to the area or the direction that you want to go. I know that's easier said than done, but if you don't do it, it doesn't happen. So be mindful of speech, how you're talking to people, the words that you're using, your language, your tone of voice, how you're presenting it, the behaviors that go along with the speech. Are you very verbal or hyperverbal? Like, are you talking? And this is something I see with, clients who are, or anybody with bipolar disorder, and they're in a state of mania. But then there are some people that are not in a state of mania and don't have bipolar, who just are very talkative people. If you're not mindful that you're talking, when you should be having a conversation, but the other person across from you is going, yeah, but, okay, yeah, but, okay, and you don't pause to let somebody else talk, they might just turn around and walk away, and you're going to be scratching your head going, well, that was very rude. So that's just one example. Just be mindful of how you're speaking to people. Are you pausing enough? Are you using the appropriate tone, appropriate language for the situation? Different situations can have, different aspects. I don't talk to my mother the way I talk to my friends. And yeah, I don't talk to my friends or family or especially my mother, the same way that I would talk to my spouse. It just, there's there's a time and place for everything. So just kind of keep in mind like how you're speaking to people. And also keeping in mind that your emotions are going to matter. How you're feeling is going to affect how you're speaking. Sometimes people don't realize that they're irritated by one thing and then they end up projecting it onto somebody else or displacing it onto somebody else. Excuse me. The idea of displacement is basically, the example that I tend to give. I mean, it's just a basic example. You go to work, the boss chews you out, but you can't chew the boss out for chewing you out. So you go home, you take it out on the family. And you probably don't even realize that you're doing it. It's because you're already in a state of frustration, irritation, anger, whatever it may be. And because you're feeling that and you're not being mindful that you are feeling frustrated and upset about a situation with a specific person, that you end up taking it out on other people unconsciously. So that's something also to keep in mind. Take that in consideration. So also think about your mindfulness of your behaviors. So these are habits and even lifestyle practices. What are your habits? What are your daily habits? What are you doing from day to day? If you are mindful of your habits, then you can assess, are these habits good? Are they benefiting me in some way? Or are they detrimental? Is this something that is not serving me well? The example that I'll give real quick is your financial mindfulness. How are your spending habits? I mean, if you make any kind of money, it doesn't matter how much you're making, whatever it is. Are you making sure that your bills are paid first and foremost? And then after that, what are you spending your money on? Are you saving it for a rainy day? Are you investing it for retirement? A lot of people aren't doing that. I'm not going to get into that right now. Or are you logging on to any number of websites that sell anything and everything, and you're looking at it and thinking, oh my gosh, wow, I would really love that. And then you buy it without actually checking to see if you have the money in the bank. There are a lot of people who are financially impulsive and probably don't even realize it. You don't realize it until it gets to your doorstep. You look at it, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, hang on. I can't afford this. I need to send it back. That's when your habits need to be reassessed, and you really need to look at what you're doing as far as, even just being mindful of what you're purchasing. So the idea of that financial aspect of the financial habits, being mindful of it, if you are feeling that feeling, and there is a feeling of desire, of want, oh my gosh, yeah, I want this or I want that. If you're mindful that you're doing that, you can pause and ask yourself, what am I doing? Why do I really, really want this? Do I need it? So there's a difference between want and need, and I'm going to do a different video on that as well. Excuse me. So once you are mindful of it, once you're mindful of your thoughts and feelings, once you're mindful of your behaviors, your habits, then you can change them if it needs to be changed. You really need to assess, is this something that I absolutely like? Can I afford this? Yes, I want this. Kind of like the average person may, I'm just going to put this out there. Let's say I want a Lamborghini. Can I afford a Lamborghini? Nope. not by a long shot. Honestly, even if I was to try to buy one, they would look at my credit ratings and go, oh yeah, cool, this is awesome, this is great, but can you afford it? Can you like really afford the monthly payments, they may not look at that. I have to do that. I have to be mindful of that. If I can't afford it, I can't afford it. It doesn't matter what I want. And just for the record, I don't want a Lamborghini. I have no use for a race car in this day and age. That kind of gets into form over function, or yeah, let's put it this way. I'm a very practical person. That's why I'm doing practical mental health. I am practical in other life practices as well. Okay, so that's the idea. All right, so other aspects of mindfulness, boundaries. And in particular, boundaries with other people. Are you mindful of your boundaries? Are you mindful of what their boundaries might be? Like, are you crossing the line? If somebody else crosses the line with you, make that effort to tell people, hey, look, I don't do that. I don't go that route. This is making me uncomfortable, whatever it might be. Just make sure that you have your own boundaries in place. And I guess the main example that comes to mind would be touch. Sometimes people actually have, in their personality, they just reach out and they want to touch somebody's shoulder, or they just, I don't want to say touchy-feely, but it's one of those things where if you're uncomfortable with that and somebody does reach out and they just touch your shoulder, just let them know, hey, look, I'm not into you touching me. I'm not into anybody touching me. I would appreciate it if you would respect my boundaries. They may actually comply with that. If they don't, then separate yourself from them. If you can. That's just one small example. Other boundaries, we live by boundaries all the time. One might be, you don't enter somebody else's house without permission. You don't just get into somebody else's car as a passenger and then just have at their radio. That's just disrespectful to them. Even if you're in their car, that's still their car. It's their house. You don't walk into somebody else's house and rearrange their furniture for them. That just it's not supposed to happen. It shouldn't happen. Those are boundaries that we just kind of understand, hopefully, and they shouldn't be crossed. But you have to be mindful of what your boundaries are and what other people's boundaries are. And oftentimes boundaries can be cultural, and being that I live in the United States, I'm not sure wherever you are in the world, if you're outside of the United States, I imagine this probably applies to you as well, but cultural values, those are boundaries that have been set in place. There's just certain things that you just don't say to people. There are certain things that you just don't do to people. Morals and values, those are also boundaries. So there's just some things to take into consideration beyond just the self-awareness. It is all self-awareness, but you also have to take into consideration other people's values, other people's boundaries, not just your own. And the last thing with regards to mindfulness that I want to touch in with this is your mindfulness for your own safety. Are you safe? If you're not, separate yourself and go, be in a safe space. If you are walking down the street and you're uncomfortable with the people that you see ahead of you, go around. It's one of those things where you have to be mindful of, if you see that, your gut feeling says, okay, I don't particularly feel comfortable with the group of people I see ahead of me, so I'm going to go around. But then what if they see me do that? They judge me. There's a whole bunch of other things. Be mindful of where your thought patterns go with that. let's see. Don't be afraid. I mean, I know it's. I would want you to try to like be mindful of whether or not you are afraid, but don't be afraid to stand up to people if you need to. Don't let people push you around. Don't let people bully you. There once was a time when, and I remember when I lived in the country, the people were always like, oh, we don't have to lock our doors here. And that's not true in this day and age anymore. You need to be safe. And it's not just about protection of property, but it's about protecting yourself and your family. There are bad people in the world, or let's say that there are people that do bad things. I still have hope for people who seem, for whatever reason, to think that they have some right to harm others or take what doesn't belong to them. And I would hope that, some of those people are actually watching these videos. I would encourage anybody to stop doing that. Be mindful of what you're doing to other people, how you're affecting other people. Maybe it's going to come back to you, maybe it won't. Depends on your personal beliefs. But yeah, so be mindful of your own sense of safety. So I hope that explains mindfulness in a broader spectrum. I know that there's a lot of videos out there of how-tos. A lot of wonderful people are actually and legitimate therapists and people who are actually practicing good mental health who have a lot of how-to videos. I would suggest, explore those, seek them out. I'm going to make my own presentation. Might be a little bit different, but it might be similar, but I'm going to cluster a whole bunch of different things into the next video. So having said that, yeah, that's pretty much it for now. And yeah. So just keep in mind, again, this is raw. It's just straightforward. I don't have any editing equipment, and you're getting the 100% me. So subscribe, don't subscribe, make comments, don't make comments. It's up to you. I do hope that all of y'all have a good day and a wonderful life. And that's my wish for all of you. All right, take care. Hope you have a great day.